All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Vinny Searcy. I'm the Director of Pupil Personnel Services here in Norton. And tonight is part one of a two-part series for our juniors and their families regarding the college search and search process. In this first half, we will be covering the search process, how to find schools, how to look at majors, a little bit of that, what you're going to need to do prior to actually beginning the application process. And then in the spring, we'll announce another time where we'll go over the more details around the actual application process, what you can do in the late spring and early summer, especially for those students who might be interested in doing like one of the early action, early decision of application. So I'm going to go through and introduce everybody. Like I said, my name is Vinny Searcy. I'm the Director of Pupil Personnel Services here in Norton. And Jennifer Prue is our academic coordinator of the guidance department. And she works with students whose last names go from A to CH, and anybody working with any of the students in the GRIT program. We have Shannon Griever, who is brand new to us this year. I'm very lucky to have her. And she handles last name CI to I. And then Allison Warren, our veteran guidance counselor. She is working with kids who have a last name J to O. Then Kate Nesbitt, who works with students P to Z in the STEP program and DHH reads. And then not joining us tonight, but probably one of the most important parts of our team is Melissa Thompson. She's our guidance secretary. She handles a lot of the sort of the stuff that goes on in the background and helps all of us do what we need to do to get students into college and get their applications processed. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jen.
Hi, so there are a number of ways that students can stay connected with us, and starting in their junior year and up until this senior year, it's really, really important that they're staying connected with the guidance department just for different updates and different information that we send out. So for instance, today, I just sent out information about SAT prep classes. So one, checking their email regularly is hugely important. They're going to get information, emails, updates continually throughout this year and into next year. So again, checking email, the guidance website, that is going to have updates, and underneath all of our names on our emails, there's always a link there to click on and to get onto the Google site. I also sent it out earlier this year, so they can go back and search through the emails to get onto the Google site. So I would bookmark the Google site link so that way they can get onto it easily. Miss Warren sends out monthly newsletters, which are also linked on the Google site. That's going to come out monthly, and that will have information updates that they will need to know. College planning is on there. We have all different information about admission visits. In fact, UMass Dartmouth is coming tomorrow, so the juniors were invited to that one. I did send out information asking if anybody was interested. I am going to try to later this year invite more colleges that juniors will be interested into in the spring, so that they can start those college visits as well. And then just more information as we're getting it. There is some pre-college stuff on there on the website right now for winter sessions. There's also some for summer sessions as well. So really that Google site is constantly updated. So it's really, really important that they're getting onto that. And again, checking their email. The Twitter account, Miss Nesbitt updates that as well. So again, any upcoming high school events, links to webinars, financial planning, helpful reminders, any of that. So again, just staying active and mindful of different ways to connect to us is really important.
And I know Mr. Dahlman put some of the larger events like tonight, for example, up in his website as well to help us out. All right, now it's on. Oh, here we go.
So on the website and also the school website as well, we have a big college planning guide, and it's linked here, so you can get it through either of those places. You can get it through this presentation as well, but this is a very intensive kind of outlook, and it's a detailed planning. It has tons of information. If you really want something to print out, I know some people want like a hard copy, you definitely can print it out yourself, or you can just, again, bookmark it or go to any of those sites to kind of get the information. But it's really a laid out plan of step-by-step process of everything we're going to kind of go over. And Naviance is the platform that we use. Students were introduced to it really their freshman year, sophomore year. We slowly got them back onto it, and we recently went, had all the juniors down into the auditorium just to make sure that they could get onto Naviance again. But it's a platform that we're going to be researching colleges on. We're sending transcripts, school reports. They're going to be requesting letters of recommendation. So again, starting this year, they're going to be using Naviance more intensively. They can research colleges there, different information about colleges, the costs. There's college search engines, which we'll get into a little bit more in the next few slides. But this is the platform that we're going to be using and that they're going to be applying through schools. And again, we had a little refresher with them, just making sure that they are or can get onto Naviance. Their login is their school email. It has to be their school email. Their password, they can reset it themselves if they need to. We can reset it for them. We can't give them a password. We can hit the reset for them, but everybody should be able to get on. There are students that already are way ahead of the process and have been starting to use Naviance to research colleges and are already setting up their list, which is great. But everybody has a Naviance account and has been able to log in. And so this is the Naviance homepage. Really what we're looking at mostly right now with the juniors is the colleges I'm thinking about. That is the tab that we're really going to be looking at. And you can probably go to the next slide. And when you get into that tab, we're going to be creating their list of colleges that they're interested in. And over to the left side of your screen, you can see that there are different quick links and different search engines. The super match is really the one that we kind of focus on. And that is because there are different filters that really can hone in on the type of college that, and really what they're looking for. And like I said, different filters that they can kind of sift through and different searches that they can do and then save that search and kind of go back and forth, which you'll see on the next screen. And I think, Kate, you're gonna hop in there.
So like Jen was saying before, the Supermatch tool is a very helpful resource, especially getting started with your search process, because you can go through the fit criteria, which can be lengthy, but you don't have to fill everything out. So if you know offhand what location you'd like to be in, if you'd like to have a certain activity for student life, if you'd like to be a part of athletics. So you can mark the things that you would like to see in a college campus. So it can generate ideas for you of what would fit those criteria. So here you can see you can have the must-have column, and then you can have nice-to-have. So it's two ways to differentiate the criteria that you're looking for in a school. Once you've selected everything that is meaningful to you, you get matched with personalized selections. So it will have a fit score, which is the percentage you can see in the second column over. it's not saying 100% you're going to get in there. It's 100% that it fits the criteria you've selected. So then when you're going through there, you can get ideas of where you'd like to go take a tour or connect with admissions, or even just do general research about that college and how it could fit what you're looking for. So say you're on Supermatch and you find something that you really like and you want to be able to remember that school and go back into your Naviance profile later and do some research. You can click any college's name. It will pull up their Naviance profile, which outlines the studies, student life, admissions, costs, etc. It will give you an idea of what their deadlines look like, what their acceptance rates are. And then if you see at the top, for this example with Bryant University, there's a heart next to the college name. If you click the heart, it will save it to the colleges you're thinking about. So then you can refer back to that list when you're deciding where you'd like to apply. So it's a great tool just to get yourself started, get the wheels turning, and find schools that would be a good fit for you and the things you're looking for in a university.
And if you notice where it says college overlaps 132, if you really like Bryant, you can go to the 132 overlaps and kind of see what colleges that are similar to Bryant. So that's a way to identify more colleges that are similar to that university.
So as I had mentioned before, there's a tab that's the colleges I'm thinking about list. So you could manually put in the colleges if you have gone on a tour or have a friend that went somewhere and you are interested in that campus. You can add it yourself, but you could also, like I said, use the heart button to save things. And then with this list, it will then, as a senior, it can carry over to where you're applying to. So it streamlines things and makes things a lot easier for students. And just because you have something on the colleges I'm thinking about doesn't lock you into applying there. It's just a way for you to organize where you'd like to possibly see yourself going and do some more research. So in October on the 28th, there was a virtual college fair that Ms. Prue put together for all students. They were able to attend and meet with admissions reps or just collect information from different schools. If you did take advantage of that opportunity, remember that it has your little backpack. So you can go back in and look at the different pieces of information from admissions that you've received. And then you can also base your searches in Naviance off of the schools that you met with, that you found interesting, or had maybe a major that you liked, or a location for their campus that fits what you're looking for. And then, so connecting with admissions. So there are a few ways to do this, but we find that it's really important just to demonstrate your interest in particular colleges. So some ideas are completing an online information request, connecting with them on social media, emailing with the admissions rep that is assigned to our area, or attending an admissions event, which could be a college fair like we had virtually. It could be an on-campus tour. They have a lot of virtual information sessions now. So there are a lot of ways to connect with the colleges that you're going to apply to. It's a great way to gather information, figure out what schools you like, and then go from there. And then also with the admissions visits that we're having at Norton High, that's a great way to connect with the admissions representative. That's probably going to be reading your application. So making a strong connection there is really important as well.
And I will say, just to bounce off what Ms. Nesbitt said, almost every single admissions rep that came into the high school this fall, I spoke to all of them, and almost every single one, they were the actual people that were reading the applications and deciding whether or not the students were getting accepted. So even if you have already applied and the person comes in after you applied, it's really, really important for you to even just come down and meet with them for a couple minutes and just kind of talk. It really puts a face to that paper application and makes that connection. So it really is important to come down and meet those people.
I think the other thing that's really important is sometimes folks, you think, oh, I have to get into schools, this is all about me showing them that I belong. But you have to understand it's also the other way around right now. It's very competitive for colleges, and they're trying to get as many students on campus as possible, and having as many of those students that are interested actually then apply, and then after they apply, attend the college. So they're trying to figure out who they're going to make those offers to, and with the best chance of that student going to their college or university. So, you demonstrating by getting on their social media, by, signing up on their website, by going out and doing visits, you're showing them, especially for the schools that you really, think are going to be your top schools, that you want to be a part of their campus, that you want to be part of, if you get accepted there's a good chance you're going to go. They're going to be tracking that. They know who's signed up. They try to keep track of who's gone to visits. They try to keep track of all of that information. We've even been told how long you spend on their websites. So if, this is as much about you selling yourself, but it's also about them trying to figure out if you're going to attend. So again, I think taking as many of these steps as possible, getting out there, seeing the schools, getting on their websites, doing all of that social media stuff is really important to getting a good offer from them or getting accepted.
Perfect. I'm going to talk a little bit about standardized testing, and most commonly known as the SAT or the ACT exams. So all juniors had the opportunity to take the PSATs back in October. In the past, we had sophomores take the PSATs, and due to COVID, we kind of shifted it so that the juniors, you guys would have a chance, an opportunity to take that. And I think it's a practice we're going to keep going forward, just because it makes more sense to have that practice closer to the time where you're actually likely going to be taking the standardized test. So most juniors take the SAT or the ACT late in their junior year. And then some choose to retake it in their senior year based on their scores and how they did. So students can register for these exams on collegeboard.org or the ACT.org. And these are accounts that you create as a student. We don't have access to reset passwords on College Board or ACT. So it's really important for you to keep track of all your different logins. We tell this to our seniors, but it's important to also start junior year, just keeping track, saving those passwords, because you're going to have more and more portals and logins. That's just kind of how life is going these days. So keeping track of your passwords is helpful. And finally, on SAT, if you think you have an opportunity for a fee waiver, you can see your guidance counselor. And then for students that might qualify for accommodations on an IEP or a 504 plan, it's really important to be mindful that you want to request those accommodations early, and that the process is different than if you were taking a typical test at the high school. So for example, the SAT, I think you have to request the accommodations 2 months in advance. So how you would go about doing that is you would contact your guidance counselor, and then we would get in contact with Mr. Searcy, and we have to go through College Board. So if you think you need accommodations based on an IEP or a 504 plan, see us early if you can.
I think it's important on that topic that I don't get to decide which accommodations get approved. I have to send in any supporting documentation, 504s, IEPs, sometimes depending on the accommodation, previous evaluations and so forth. Then there's a committee, I believe, at the College Board who then reviews all of that, and they make the decision on which of the accommodations they feel is appropriate. And for example, you'll be allowed to take that SAT at a regular site. Others that are more complex or require extra technology and so forth, then they would notify me that we have what we call an in-school or during the week exam. So if it was on, the SAT was typically, let's say, on a Saturday in March, that individual would come to the high school, usually with me, and we would do a separate sitting later in that week, before the end of that week. So within that time frame, they notify me of that. They'll notify you as well. So that's how that works with especially the SAT. They make those decisions. So it's important to understand. If you're a junior and you're in an AP class, you already have a College Board account. If you registered for the AP exams, that is College Board. So again, you want to have that that login information. Use that. Don't create a separate account for SATs. It can kind of get things very confused at College Board. You will spend hours, I'm telling you, hours on the phone just waiting to get through to get that corrected. So please make sure, if you already are in AP and you have signed up for an exam, you're going to use that login information.
And again, I just sent out a email today about a free SAT workshop that's going to be taking place in January and February. So students can sign up via the Google form that was sent out today.
So this form here just shows the testing dates and just highlights the registration deadline. So if you just notice, it's usually a month in advance, but again, you want to be early so you're not paying late fees for late registration, and especially if you're thinking you need accommodations. And then a lot of schools are going test optional, and this started with the start of COVID, and it's a practice that a lot of colleges are going to keep going forward, at least for the next couple of years. So usually in place, if a college offers a test optional opportunity, there's usually an opportunity for you to put in place of that parts of your application to highlight what you've done to supplement that piece of data. So in that section, you might want to highlight the fact that you've challenged yourself to try to fit an extra honors class in, or an AP, or that you've dedicated more time to extracurriculars. So while it is something that you can leave out of your application, it's important to think about what can you add to your application in place of that testing. And here there's just several things you can touch on it in your personal essay. And then there's usually a section in the application where it says, is there anything else you want us to note about your application? Again, you could even put in that you're thinking about taking the test, and for whatever circumstances, you didn't end up doing that. So you just want to make sure you're indicating why maybe you aren't submitting those test results. And then, like Ms. Prue said, there's several ways to practice for the SAT or the ACT exam. Here on Naviance and Kaplan, there's some free opportunities, because some of the courses that you take might through a college or something, they can get expensive. So here, always look for the free opportunities first. And then on the next slide, I believe Ms. Prue touched on that there's going to be an SAT workshop at the high school later in the spring. So open to sophomores and juniors. So definitely a great opportunity to take advantage of, because those classes can get expensive and it'll give you more preparation for the exam.
And just to be clear, this is actually run by actually now an ex-parent, right? So parent of some graduates who has an interest in this, and he does it for free. The way it typically works is he spends a little bit of time going over sort of tricks and things to remember in terms of taking the SAT, how to go about that process. But the rest of the time is actually spent taking an official SAT practice test that we get off the site. And then given time, they score it, and you kind of have a conversation about, and gives you some information about areas that you might need to sort of brush up on, or things that you could do differently. One of the number one ways of improving your grades statistically is just taking practice tests. So whether you do it with us on a Saturday, or you do it on your own through the different websites, it's a really important way. It's a lot of work, but it's the best way to improve your scores.
All right, so we're going to go back to Naviance for a moment, because not only is that a super helpful tool in researching colleges and figuring out, those different areas that are really important for you in a college setting, but it's also a great tool in order to figure out, a little bit more of your interests and maybe potential majors that you're thinking of considering as well. So all of these great resources, and I'll go over a few individually, can be found here under the self-discovery tab at the top of the page. We can go to the next slide. So two that we, really suggest to students who are still, looking into their interests are, one's a career cluster finder. And what this does is it asks you, different activities and, if your likes and dislikes with activities, with, even different classes and subjects in school, and also takes into account some of your personal qualities as well too. And it will come up with a few different clusters of careers that you may want to look into a little bit more. Like with anything, just because something comes up, this does not mean that you have to be interested in it. I think this is a really great way for students and for parents too, to see what different careers are out there. And, if one sounds really interesting, then you can kind of take the next step and look into, what education levels you may need for that too. Then there's the career interest profiler. Very similar, it takes into account your personality traits and your interests, and also, different factors of, a work environment that might be really helpful for some. Some students may really want to work directly with people, where others may want to, do more like data collection and not interact with people as much. So it takes into account a lot of different aspects of, what makes someone themselves, and can come up with a few ideas they might want to look into a little bit more. In addition to those surveys on Naviance, we also have a school to career specialist at Norton High School. Her name is Miss Kay. She's located down in the guidance office, and she is accessible to all students, and she is an amazing resource. She can help with, talking about interests and figuring out, okay, like maybe this is something I want to look into a little bit more. She can help, with resumes and cover letters. So if someone's looking to get a job somewhere, a lot of seniors that I've been working with this year, she's been extremely helpful in helping them hone up their resume that they want to send out to schools. And that's also something that they can have going into college and can add and edit to it as the years go on. She can help with different job applications. She can do mock interviews to help prep for someone if someone has a job interview coming up. She can also help students find, different people to shadow in the community and different jobs that they're interested in and prep for interviews. So she's a great resource. And I think, using her and using these tools on Naviance and using us guidance counselors too is going to be a great tool, especially for juniors. You still have senior year coming. So now is the perfect time to explore. So that way, if there is an area that you want to explore a little bit more, we can look into what electives might be available and things like that. So in terms of, next steps and kind of what the role of or the responsibilities for juniors right now are, I really view this first, semester of the year as really a time to start exploring. So start exploring aspects of colleges and careers that are really interesting for you. Go on tours if you can. If you can't, there are a lot of virtual tours and virtual information sessions, and these are amazing ways to, number one, demonstrate interest, but also really get a feel of if a school might be a good fit for you. Do, as Ms. Warren was talking about, with the standardized testing, there are deadlines that you want to hit just because you don't want to get charged with any additional fees. So just make sure that you do take a look at the testing dates, make sure that you plan accordingly. And then, as always, continue earning community service hours. A little bit later on into the year, I know, I'm going to make it a goal of mine to meet with every junior individually to kind of get a sense on, what they're thinking and anything that I can help with. And that'll be more into the spring and towards the end of the year. But as the year goes on and into the summer, continuing to add colleges into the colleges I'm thinking about tab and Naviance is going to be key. You can refer to that list, even next year. And that's something that us counselors can see as well. So we can kind of see what schools you might be thinking and be able to have conversations with you about that. Also towards the end of the year, something on the horizon that we'll touch on a little bit more as the school year goes on is start thinking about who, what teacher or teachers you might want to ask for a letter of recommendation. Again, towards the end of the year, thinking about college essay. I think a lot of the junior English classes will start to touch upon that towards the end of the year. Resume, again, Miss K can certainly help with that. And then it's just important to have an ongoing conversation, especially between students and family, about plans, where you see yourself in the country, budget, and things like that too.
Okay, so this is our part of the first part. As I said, there'll be a second part coming up later on in the spring. But this is really the way we decided to do it. In the past, we sort of did everything at once in the fall, and our feedback was we kind of shot everybody with a fire hose, and it was just too much information. So that's why we've broken it down into these two subsets. So as Ms. Griever said, this is really the time to kind of explore, get a feel for what kinds of campuses you might want to live on, rural, suburban, urban, like that kind of how big of a school you might want to go to. We're very lucky in this part of the country is we have lots of different colleges and they come in all shapes and sizes here. So you really get a chance to kind of just within driving distance, explore different options and different types of campuses. Doesn't even necessarily mean like, you want to go to Northeastern, but you go see Northeastern because you get a feel for what a city campus is like. Definitely go out and start to do that if you haven't done so already. So that, that April vacation time, February vacation, you really maybe go into some of those schools that are really more on your list that you might truly be interested in, especially if you're staying in the area, or if you're, April vacation of junior year is a good time to explore if you're looking to go to a different part of the country. I know I personally took my son and we went south and hit a bunch of southern colleges. So that would be kind of our feel for right now what to do, really get that in place. Like I said, there is the college planning guide. It is a very in-depth, step-by-step kind of process. It covers everything, financial aid, all the soup to nuts really of the college process. So please please go use that resource. It has quick links so you can jump around really easily to really focus in on areas that you want to know more about. But right now, I guess we'll, I don't know if there's any questions. People can use the Q&A.
One thing I did want to mention was the community service quickly.
Oh, yes,
I know
thanks.
it was prorated because of COVID and everything. So I think the juniors, correct me if I'm wrong, only need to do the 20 hours for the graduation requirement, 10 this year and 10 next year. And one of the things I will say, a lot of the students are like, yay, I don't have to do the whole 50 hours. However, it would be beneficial if they did more than that for scholarships, because a lot of times that is something that schools look for, or even the scholarships for the school that really will bump you up if you're kind of neck and neck with somebody. That will be helpful. I just got in a scholarship from a school that I was handing out, and just because of community service, if you're out there in the community and you're doing community service regularly, if you apply to this certain school, potentially you could get, I forgot what it was it $25,000 a year? Up to 4
It was
years.
very significant. I'd say that.
Yeah, it was something like that. It was just astronomical, and it was based solely on community service, being out there in the community and working with people. So if you definitely fulfill the 10 hours a year for the next 2 years, but if you are out there doing community service hours and you have availability to do more, it does not hurt you. It only benefits the community and it benefits you. So it's definitely something to keep in mind, and just do what you can. So
because they're really looking for they're trying to figure out who will be a good positive person on their campus, right? So they're definitely looking at that. Who's going to take part in activities? Who's going to join clubs? Who's going to do extracurriculars? Who's going to be an active member of that community? So if you haven't really done much, or you just did the minimum in high school in terms of community service or joining clubs and activities, and you're comparing every other way, GPA, test scores, all of that is equal, and it comes down to you and that person. The person who's more engaged and they think is going to be a better contributor to their community, they're going to go with that person. both in terms of application, acceptance, as well as possibly even, well, I have a limited amount of money, who am I going to give it to? So, there's balance. It's important to stay balanced and not try to do too much, but at the same time, you want to be active. So we do have a question. For college tours, do we need to sign up in order to tour the college, or can we just walk around the campus? Like we said, most of the campuses right now anyways, you can walk around, but you're going to have limited access. You're not going to be able to get into certain areas of the campus. You're not going to be able to see, get into dorms or into the cafeteria. You might get into the libraries, but, phys ed, gyms, that kind of stuff, you're definitely not going to get into. So if it's just to sort of get a feel, like I haven't been on a campus before, I'm really not sure, I want to just, I'm in the city, I'm going to go walk around Northeastern. Yeah, absolutely. You could do that. But if you're going to make the effort to go to a campus and you have the time, I think we'd all agree, right? Sign up for a tour, get your name on that list, especially if it's a place you're really interested in. Like I said, they track that. They know who's been there. They know how many times. It's quite amazing what they can do with all that information. So I definitely would say try to sign up for a tour. But again, I guess it's depends on what the purpose is. If you're just trying to get a feel, not necessarily, but if it's someplace you might want to go, definitely sign up.
And another perk of actually signing up for either an open house or an on-campus tour, sometimes admissions will give you a fee waiver. So that could
True,
save
yep.
you $50 to $80 down the road if you end up applying to that school. And then I know some colleges also offer more specialty days. So if there was a certain major you were looking at, maybe it's something in the sciences, you could see more of that program, meet professors, things like that. So looking into those little niche areas would be important to sign up for too, if that's something that you definitely know you're interested in.
And if you're looking to play sports, something like that too, a lot of times if you are on a campus tour and you let them know, that I'm interested in, I don't know, the golf team. They might have the coach available on, especially like open house days. A lot of times those folks are available and you can, reach out, have conversations, meet the team, those kinds of things as well. And I think that was a really important point about the fee waivers, especially for our folks out there that are going to maybe apply to a lot of places. We try to help them narrow it down a little bit, but if you're applying to 10 or 12 schools at $60 to $100 a pop, it's going to be nice to have some of those fee waivers. And again, sometimes I think too that, you can get those waivers too if you're signed up and on their social media. I think they sometimes send some of that stuff out to people that they think are interested. They don't want to waste that on somebody. They make a lot of money off those applications, let's be honest. So they're not looking to give all that away. But if they really think, boy, this person's been on campus, I see that they've been on our website, they've signed up for everything, they've reached out to this faculty member or that admissions rep, they're more apt to get you some of those free applications. So please take advantage of that. Do we have any other questions out there? Oh, we do. In college, you see how many times we've taken the SAT.
So I actually just went to a webinar that was hosted by 3 more upper tier colleges. And that was a question that was posed to them. And I was curious about it because I had no idea. They cannot see how many times you've taken it. They cannot see if you've taken it and then decided not to send the scores. So that's your personal information. The only thing they'll be able to see is the things that you choose to send them. So you would do that through your College Board account. So some students do it ahead of time, and then others wait for their score to roll in and then send it through. But I wouldn't worry about them knowing any of that information prior to you sharing it with them.
And you can also send your scores. And then when the scores come back, if you decide, no, I don't want that to be part of my application, you can actually contact the school and withdraw your scores if it's a test optional school and just say, I no longer want my scores to be part of my application. I've had colleges in the past, actually, one specific incident, contact me and say, can you please ask the student to withdraw their scores because it's not really helping their application. They would do better with withdrawing their scores. And that was the college reaching out to me. So,
Which they're not all gonna do.
no, which they're not all gonna do.
Can't count on that happening.
No, but the point being is if you see your scores and you're like, I really don't want that to be part of my application, it's not going, it's not going to look badly if you call and say, hey, I don't want that to be part of my application anymore. That's okay too.
And
Go ahead.
sorry,
Allison.
in addition to finding that information on Naviance of like where your SAT scores maybe match up with a specific school, the most, or I should say the best way to kind of double check that is if you go to the specific college's admissions website, and usually there's something like a freshman class profile or admitted students profile. It's always called something different according to each school, but they'll give you the statistics of what the average SAT or GPA was of last year's class in most cases. So that's where you can go for your final check to kind of see where you match up after you've used Naviance and some of those other search tools.
Great. Any other questions out there? All right, so seeing no other questions, well, thank those folks who did come on. This is going to, it's been recorded. It will go up on the guidance department website underneath the, under the guidance department on the high school website, I should say. So that'll be up there for people to review. Instead, we're doing part 2 in the spring. This will really, we'll get into more about the application process, really taking a deeper dive into looking at your, how to look at your GPA, how to look at your test scores, what the process is, looking at the college essay, which we hopefully will have this year, the juniors will do, and with the English department towards the end of the year after the seniors leave. We'll work on that. We'll talk about the different kinds of admissions and the deadlines around all of that. So we'll take you through each of those steps. And thank you to the person who just said this was helpful. We're glad that's what we're hoping for. So yeah, that's kind of ends it for tonight. Please reach out to us if you have questions, if you want to delve into anything that we covered in more detail. We'd be happy to do that. Yeah, that's it for tonight. Oh, we'll also be doing at some point in the spring, we'll do a college financial night. Usually we have somebody from, believe it or not, AAA comes out. They do a lot of stuff with college financial planning. So they'll do a Zoom webinar like this for us sometime in the spring. I haven't got a date for them yet. So, all right. Well, that being said, thank you, everybody. Thanks to the presenters. Thank you, Kathy, for doing the closed caption, and everybody have a good night.